It's all of you at home. Cut the fucking chicken.
Okay.
Hold on, we were talking about. We had to rush on here. We weren't even. We're all out of whack now.
We're all out of sorts. We
But
were organized.
we had to rush on here because we were talking about Rocco's.
Yep.
I want to go to Rocco's. Every time you guys talk about Rocco's, I want to go to Rocco's every time.
So you didn't know because you were out making the chicken.
Yeah.
Okay? And if y'all didn't know, Zach's here as a guest today on the Honeycomb Hideout. So, and...
I've heard about the infamous sound effects. I watched the last couple episodes.
Yeah, and let me tell you something.
It gets pretty interesting.
Right. What's not interesting is when you're in the corner and she's just hitting the buttons on you and Lexi's just laughing and it's like being caught like in a K-hole.
I don't know, from a viewer standpoint, it looks pretty cool.
Really?
It was pretty entertaining.
Wow, that was so stressful for me. I don't smile that much. So it caught me, you know what I mean? There's a lot of smiling for me.
You don't want that.
What would really make me smile is if we could go back to Rocco's.
I want to go to Rocco's.
Let the roast begin.
We've been talking to Lexi for days and days about Rocco's. We've been teasing her what the local scene was, you know, before she could buy a beer.
Yeah.
And she's just increasingly pissed off. And there'll be like time will go on and we'll say something like, "That's what we used to do at Rocco's."
Oh, yep. I mean,
it sucks.
That's how you know you're a true New England musician. At one point, you played Rocco's. Like, everyone got their start at Rocco's.
That's where Melissa got her start.
I can never be a true musician then.
Did you know that that's the first time? And then the cool thing about it is, like, so we were kind of forced into our first show at Rocco's. Because my brother was the manager of the band at the time. And if you guys know O-Dog, he's heavy as a motherfucker, boy. He wanted us to play that show. He was convinced we were good enough, we were ready to go. Because his philosophy was, how you gonna know until you get out there and you know. We had some of us that thought we were good. And then some of us who felt that we weren't. And a few of us wanted to make the point, well, why don't we get out there and be able to measure it?
You won't know till you try.
And, shout out to my brother Ben, man. He got us out there, man. He booked a show on his own. We ain't never booked a rock and roll show in our life. We'd always, he booked like, he always booked like famous rappers. Like E40 and Raz-Kaz and, I mean, big rappers.
What?
Gunplay.
Alex said he was too young to play Rocco's, sadly. I'm sorry, Alex.
You'd been playing you'd been playing with Lexi at the Sad Calf. Who's played the sad? Put a 1 in the chat if you played the Sad Calf. See that?
Is that another
In fact,
place
the first local show I went to was at the Sad Cafe.
Put a 2 in the chat
in
if you played the Honey Pot.
No, I didn't play that.
That sounds like a fun place.
The Honey Pot?
The Honey Pot, yeah.
You were definitely too young to be in there. It's a joke.
What about Ground Zero or Club Drifters?
Ground Zero.
Yeah.
What about here's one for you, and you would have been able to go in there, an all ages venue. Anchors Up.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Put a 1 in the chat if you've been to a metal show at Anchors Up.
Played there many times.
See? We were talking about celebrity venues earlier.
Where did
You
those...
said, put a 3 in the chat if you played Chuck E. Cheese.
And then put a 0 behind it for how many years you got in prison. Stay away from playing gigs at Chuck E. Cheese. Unless, of course, you have a child there.
Right?
If you have a child at Chuck E. Cheese, you're allowed to be there. If you don't have a child at Chuck E. Cheese, leave.
Probably best to stay away.
Right. Although those fucking animatronic dudes had some sick moves.
That's where I learned my first bit of stage moves, actually.
Was Chuck E. Cheese?
Dude, no, they had the... What do you think we do? The thing about the... I'm telling you. Think about the push parts.
Oh, you know what? Now that you mention it, yeah.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I see it. Chuck E. Cheese animatronics.
Right.
Exactly.
All you need is popcorn,
You are missing out.
cotton
on the
candy,
right
roller
now. That's why
skates.
it's bomb.
What's bomb?
It's super bomb.
It's
Oh,
bomb.
it's the best.
We need a bomb explosion.
I tried something. We do. I do not have a button for this.
I don't know, but every time she does the flipper clap, you need to back her up with the applause. That's the least you can do. I forgot what we were talking about. I didn't. No, I didn't. We were talking about
The cool places in the scene that no
we were
one-
talking about all the cool venues that'll be shutting down soon. I'm the guy that does that on this program. Rock and roll's ending.
It's ending? No!
You're the
I was
ending
just about
queen.
to join it.
Hold on, it's ending. Now, so it's half and half.
Right.
The music industry used to be measured on the amount of shows you played, the amount of people that you draw. Now it's measured by how nice your gaming chair is, the amount of space you have on your hard drive, and of course, whatever complete strangers say that you have for followers. That's the music
Gotcha.
industry.
So all the stuff that's on the internet.
Yes, everybody's sitting at that colorful Amazon, template, machine cut piece of plastic, the cliche gamer chair, the Dre Beats.
Or AirPods.
Right. Why'd you make the depressing sound? This would be the format. So, like, if we had, hear me out. If we had another person come on the podcast, the format would be we would kick Melissa off the podcast, and then she would go over there. Even though she looks better than I do, she has the explosion controls. Plus, she has her own television show on Sunday. This one's mine.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I liked you being on the show. I kind of already missed you.
Come back.
I'm right here.
Okay,
But, like,
cut the chicken.
That's what I'm doing.
All right. Celebrity venues. Some venues, like Spotify, are more celebrities than the bands that actually go there. Like, how come do you think there's people from, California that are like, dude, wait till I get to the New England hardcore and metal fest at the Worcester Palladium that has no New England and metal bands there at all? Like, do you think that there are people on the other side of the continent that are just dying to get to the Raven?
no.
The Raven.
I know I know that was like, I personally love the Raven. I played the Raven.
I love the
I
Raven,
don't,
too,
maybe
don't
that
get me
wasn't
wrong.
that wasn't like, some people are probably like, what the fuck, man? No, I love the Raven. That's not the point. I just mean anywhere, the Middle East or, Rob, do you think that
the
they
Middle
were...
East, definitely.
Right.
Like, that has a reputation,
Okay. All right. No, and I wasn't being sarcastic before. Honestly, like, we're running out of venues. So it's not like we could just name off a ton. If I say to people in Ohio, do you want to play 6-string bar and grill at Gillette Stadium? They're going to say, yeah. But do they have it on their list? I'm
Well-
not sure. I'm not sure about that.
If you didn't include the Gillette Stadium part, would they still say yes?
That's a really good point. So, okay, you bring up a good point, though. So these celebrity venues that people want to go to, did people want to go to Rocco's because there were other bands playing there? I could tell you for one right now, when Rocco's was open, I wanted to play there because all of me and Melissa's favorite bands played there. But me and Melissa didn't grow up on famous bands. We grew up on shitty bands.
Right.
We liked all the shitty bands. We didn't like all the big A-list bands that were available. Let me not speak for you because you like some big bands. But you went to the Disturbed show. You didn't even see Disturbed.
I never got to.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's pretty sad. But how many big bands have you guys seen? You guys seen what's the biggest band you've ever seen live?
Kiss.
Wow.
For me, it was
We're done.
easy.
That's awesome.
Right. So, podcast is over.
Thank you guys all for
Right.
watching.
Thanks for coming.
We'll
And
see you guys next week. Keep
what did you
rocking.
say over there? Crisscross?
And I said my
Crisscross.
biggest band was probably Ozzy that I've seen.
Okay, both of you can fuck off now. So who else is it? What do you
Uh,
got? Now that they've got Ozzy and Crisscross.
I watched Boston.
Hey,
All of you guys' bands, I think, might be bigger than my biggest band.
What?
No, see, I've seen bigger bands than all of you, but I had worked for them, though. I'm not going to count it.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
I'm not going to count it. I'm going to count. I got the ticket sale. You know what I mean? Like, I bought the ticket.
Right.
What
Slayer.
about you? Slayer.
Slayer's a big name.
Yeah, no, it was fucking crazy. I thought I was going to die.
What? Why?
You ever been to a Slayer concert?
No.
Oh,
Please
they-
describe. This sounds like fun.
I mean, it was, you know the song Raining Blood?
That's a cool song.
Yeah, it rains blood. Literally, when the song comes on, they rain blood on you. If you don't,
Freaking
you,
awesome.
you got to put your cell phone away and shit. It's fucking crazy.
What?
Oh,
That is
yeah.
so cool. It
I had some
rains
friends of
blood?
mine. Yeah, some of my friends of mine that we used to go to Warped Tour together. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna go in the mosh pit." I said, "I think that's a bad idea." I said, and then they're like, "No, we're going in there." I said, "No, I think that's a terrible
You
idea."
will die at a Slayer concert.
And they went in.
Can I
yeah.
still experience the raining blood? Because that's really cool.
Oh, there was real blood, rain
Yeah.
blood. There was all type of forms. No, it was fine. I had a good
Usually
time.
before they come out, yeah, there's the hunchback that comes out.
I.
Bring out the Slayer fans.
No, so and there was like people. There was obviously like some diehard, like frequent Slayer concert goers because there were people that had designated get the fuck out of the way areas. That's where I was. That's usually where I'm at.
Is that like where they can't mosh?
Oh no, there was moshing everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there was not avoiding moshing at a Slayer concert. Not the one I was
Reveal
at.
Thy list.
Thine list.
What?
Reveal thy list.
Oh,
He says he has a list.
who's got a list?
Hans.
A list of
A
what?
list of what?
A list?
All right. I mean,
Some
like-
horror stories.
no.
Horror
I'm gonna start reviewing his personality in a second. He knows
No,
how
we
that
already
works.
reviewed it.
Right.
We already reviewed
Right. Right. Hans, you've already gotten your daily, personality review from the band. I gotta stop this shit. So some of these venues are more popular than the acts that play in them.
Absolutely.
Spotify's more popular than the musicians that play on it. If you tell a consumer turn off your Spotify in the name of musicians, they'll fucking kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god!
Bun Chief says hi.
Hi.
Hey.
Robert L. Pan. Oh, is that Bob?
Did you not know Bob's account?
No, because okay, I just read Robert at first, and then it said L. Pan. I was like, oh, that must be Bob, right? So hi,
Yeah.
Bob. He
We need to
said
change.
Zach.
We need to make.
Huh?
All he said was Zach.
Thanks, Bob Zombie.
See, and I was just saying he needs like more of a stage name. Bob needs a stage name. He's been around too long to not have an official name. Lexi's
I'm
choking.
glad Lexi likes
Lexi's
it.
choking on the chicken.
Oh, that's no good.
Well, you know what I mean. Cut the chicken.
Right.
This is getting dangerous. So, I mean, I hope you do. I mean, you work at a school. You know CPR and everything?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
I mean, worst case, I can just Google the Heimlich.
Bob said, dude.
Hopefully, the demonstration video doesn't have
I was gonna
40
say-
ads.
Well, I was going to say, good thing we have strong Wi-Fi here. Because you'll be able to get to... Oh, this is crazy as shit. So,
I'm having a good time.
I certainly remember our first show, Melissa, and it was at Rocco's.
It wasn't Rocco's.
And the reason why it was at Rocco's, it was because we loved all the shitty bands that played at Rocco's. And we in the city, you weren't established back then.
No.
Nope.
Okay, so Lexi, you know how you got to be on Spotify now to be a musician?
Yeah.
Like, you could play the violin with your fucking toes, but that wouldn't cut it.
Nope.
In order to be a musician today, you've got to have 100 monthly followers on some fucking device, on some gadget. So this is before rain dances and human sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
Back when music was important.
Music's always been important.
Yeah, but the live music industry is dying.
Right, I told you that.
I've seen so many awesome local bands at Rocco's.
Right, and now you're not.
I don't want live
And I
music
saw
to
Asking
die.
Alexandria there too. Back in the day.
Saw Asking?
Yeah, and they asked him to not come back.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of big
They
bands
played
play
a
there.
really good show that day.
As from what you can remember.
Yeah, it was good.
No, but I mean, it was all good back then. I'm not being fresh. It was all good. She thinks I'm making a joke. It was a thing. Lexi, you won't believe it.
Okay.
But people physically met up.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah.
Before the show, you were allowed to go. Like, people would meet up in the parking lot.
Wait, and get
Yep.
ready and stuff? And
Ready
like,
ain't the
tailgate?
word. The
Pre-game?
show would start in the street.
Yep.
Why did they stop doing this?
Before the bands get there, but everybody be out there waiting for
yeah.
the buses to pull up. It was fucking insane.
Yeah.
Everyone went to the mall. Everyone got their outfits that night. You went and got the pre-game drinks across the street. Everybody went together,
So true.
It was like
Yep.
a whole
and you
like,
couldn't
thing.
text message about it.
It was a whole like
It was too
thing.
elaborate.
Yeah. No.
It really,
You'd get home from school, you'd MySpace about it, and then
dude.
yeah.
Everyone, the chat rooms would start filling up.
Why did they stop doing this?
Dude, at the band T-shirts would come.
Yep.
It was insane.
Why did they stop? I want to do this. Can we do this?
No, you can't.
I want to do this though.
And so
I'm doing it.
Our
Def
first
Leppard tailgate party.
dudes, look,
What?
people are freaking out.
I want to do this.
See?
Can we do this, please? Like, can we be like the only ones that do it then?
So, now look, why did we play Rocco's? Why did O-Dog want us to play Rocco's? Because he did the research and he was like, where do the heavy metal and rock and roll bands play in the city? We need to play at the right. And he was like, we can't just go there. We need to our first show was a headlining show.
Really?
That's the craziest thing in the world. I know what you guys are thinking right now.
Well, now when you say headlining, do you mean like it was a headlining show, or just you guys played last?
No, we played last.
Okay, there's a difference.
No, we played last, and we were the headlining band.
Oh, okay.
So, and I'm going to tell you why. It wasn't because we were good. It's because nobody would play with us. We couldn't get a single rock and roll band in 100 miles in Manchester to play a song with us. We were too weird looking. We were too terrible. And the crazy part is we had fans on this app called Facebook. And at the time, Facebook was the nerdiest, goofiest. If you were in a band and you were on Facebook at that time, it was the most unrock, unmetal, uncool thing known to man. And we were that band. We were on Facebook.
Were you guys on MySpace?
We were. Yeah.
Okay.
We were MySpace
We
band.
still have a MySpace.
We still have it, yeah.
What?
Yeah, we were.
Can you log into it?
We were a band in the MySpace days. Yes, we were.
We haven't updated it since
Yes.
knows when, but
Yes.
it exists.
So when
Time to bring it back.
listen, we've been a band for so long. We had an Instagram and didn't discover we had one until 4 years ago.
We're on
We just
Instagram.
forgot we had, we signed up 10 years ago, and we're like, oh, what the fuck is Instagram? We tried to make one, we're like, oh, we already have it.
Huh.
Right.
We didn't even know
Because
it.
back then, Instagram was nothing.
Right.
Right.
It was just, right.
It was essentially just like, the picture version of Twitter.
Yeah.
It was more like, it was a picture version of Vine. It was like
miss Vine.
it was like people picking their nose and feet pictures and boobs and stuff. It really wasn't like there's no captions.
Right.
We'll talk about that later because Instagram has a product that they're coming out with as a Twitter alternative that is a caption-based product that I want to tell you guys about. You really like it, so stick around for that later if you want to check that out. It's gonna blow your mind because it's for
Is it
musicians.
available now?
There's a waiting list for it, and I'm gonna tell you how to get on it.
Where
But you guys
is it
stick
gonna
around.
be
Oh, I know you're gonna get on it because you're the one.
Everything.
You're right. I know. So we were at Rocco's, and nobody would play any fucking music with us. So me and my bro, just being smart, we paid the bands.
Makes sense.
We didn't know at the time. So, but this is, people want to know where we got our business model from. We didn't get it from, from suffering in the local scene. However, we had our fair share of dues. Mm-hmm. No, the first show we ever had, we paid the bands. And not because we thought we were revolutionizing, not because we thought that we were going to make a marketing ploy. We paid the bands because we thought it was the right thing to do, bro.
Well, it is the right thing to do.
So,
And it was that day that you discovered that I had never been on stage before in my
and
life.
it was that day, we'll get back to that. And it was we'll get back to that.
I was going to say, we got to hear this.
Yeah, and it was that day that I was robbed for my first amount of ticket money.
You were.
I was robbed.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
You were robbed?
I was robbed.
Tell us a story,
Well,
please.
yeah, so, I'm from the street. So I didn't have any staff members, Mm-hmm. So we got close to time to, get the show together, and it occurred to us, we didn't have enough people to make sure the show was going to go off. We thought when we rented the building that it was going to come with all these people, mm-hmm. and there was going to be people passing out, hot towels and shit. I didn't know. I was, my idea of the music industry was sitting in a prison cell watching, MTV, mm-hmm. On my 13-inch with my earbuds. My idea of the music industry was, gangster rap music before puberty. I thought it was guns and gold chains. I thought, you know what I mean? I didn't know you had to fucking learn anything. So yeah, we had the show. It's in the middle of the fucking hood. Everybody knows where Rocco's is. Mm-hmm. The parole officer's right around the corner. The police station's, you could hit somebody in the head with a rock.
Yep.
The police station's so close. Because it needs to be. It's right there in that central artery of, violence. And,
yep.
So that's where the club was. And that was our... And I said, yeah, man, we're going to need some more people. And it wasn't because of that. We got along with everybody, but we needed more people to carry in, boxers and cables and so. And in that time, I didn't have musician friends. I didn't have a collection of like multi-instrumentalists and sound guys and photographers. I didn't know anybody like that at that time. We're talking almost 15 years ago now. All the guys I knew, they could make a knife in prison. They can make a nice knife. They show you how to bag up, cocaine. The guys I grew up with could beatbox or spit a nice freestyle or knock somebody's teeth out, but do front of the house. You know what I mean? Or you know what I mean? Or give you a spreadsheet or an inventory on merchandise or taxes or something. We didn't have anybody to do accounting in my time. And the moral of the story is, Zach, I don't think any one of my friends ever seen $1,000 before that day. Honest money. No one ever knew that we could make $800 off of playing guitar. My friends watched me play guitar most of my life. If it wasn't on the side of a road, homeless, they watched me play guitar in a prison cell. Mm-hmm. So people associated me, in playing the guitar. It certainly wasn't making a living. So that's my story. And so the only staff members that I could hire, Christ, I don't know, why didn't we hire your mom or something, Melissa?
Right?
What happened? We had so many cool people. I think we wanted all of our friends to be at the show.
Yep.
You'll find out later, if you're in a small business or you have a gift shop or an ice cream lemonade stand or something, you find out that hiring some of your best friends can either be the best thing in your business or the fucking worst. Mm-hmm. And I think we all know that. So, without reviewing too many personalities, I had entrusted one of my street friends to collect the ticket money, because who do you want to collect the ticket money? You know, Nancy, she's cute. She has a blue pastel shirt on and looks like somebody could, you know, muscle her out of a couple bucks. Or do you want the guy that looked like you fight for a couple bucks? So I had the young person at the door took the cash, and at the end of the night, they went missing. And so did the money, man. And to this day, I never really found out what the story was. Somebody apologized to me years later for stealing my money, and that was the end of how was that? How was the chicken?
That was so good.
Fantastic.
Oh, thank you. You're awesome. Thank you.
So.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah, but that was our show at Rocco's, and Zach, I'll tell you, we were awful, and we were in the waiting room, and you know, aside from working together on the project and going to practices, myself and Melissa were very two different people at this time, and we weren't in the position or in the circumstances in life where I would have been hanging out or like getting to know the other people in the band, because we didn't know that that's something you needed to do.
Right.
I didn't know nothing about that. I come from hip hop, where you mind your fucking business.
Oh. Not in the rock and roll world.
Right, no. In the hip hop world, you don't go in somebody's house and meet their wife. You don't do that kind of shit in the street. You don't hang out and do pizza parties and make this whole brand new thing. Sepsiss changed my life. I've never done anything like this in my life. Why do you think it's so cool to me? I never did nothing like that.
Well, I have, and it's still cool to me too. That's why I love doing it.
So that's why we're still doing it, Lexi. So there's hope for you. But we sounded really bad, and we're downstairs in I think we could say this now. What's the statute of limitations? But we had a security guard, and he said, you know, what are you guys drinking? You guys look nervous. And I said, you know, I'm nervous as hell. And I said, what about you? And Melissa's like, terrified. I've never performed before on stage. And I turned and I said, excuse me? And this is after we've practiced and gotten to know each other as colleagues for, I don't know, 4 to 6 months, trying to get our best 4 songs together. And, you know, it's awful. And she tells me and discloses to me and swears to this day that I knew the whole time.
You did, though.
And there we were, and she had she got her, and I said, are you nervous? And she said, yeah. And I remember it was against the rules of the club, and I said, somebody get her a rum and coke. And we calmed her nerves down, and then we got up there, and it was quite the performance. But Melissa just she basically became part of the mic stand.
What do you mean by that?
You know how a mic stand's straight and doesn't move? That was her. I mean, it was the strangest music we've ever made together. Somebody's got a video of that. We should probably pay him to destroy it.
I did not move at all.
And it was just bad. I mean, because I was so nervous, you know, I was lost off the sauce. So I was getting sauced up. The band was on something else.
Sauce.
No, I think something else. And it was just a tough situation. And like I said, half the club is all ex-convicts. Because that's all I had to run the show. So it was quite the party. No one was knifed. My money was stolen. That was the worst of it. But Rocco's went down in history as being Manchester's legendary. And of course, there was the Bungalow after that, but it was never the same. It was never the same.
Nope.
After Rocco's, it was
one.
never the same.
Yep.
And you talk about these I call them celebrity venues, because if you ask people in New England, Lexi, you don't know this, but if you ask people in New England, you say, where do you want to play? It's not like people are saying the Music Factory in Michigan. It's not like people are saying the WC in Chicago. It's not like people say stuff like Whiskey a No-No.
Whiskey a Go-Go.
Yeah, for all you guys up there, and look, I don't know, I've never been there. I don't know the staff there. I'm just making a joke. But people love Whiskey a Go-Go. We had a drummer one time, and we were at an interview, and they were going around saying, what's the fucking... I love this question for all you radio and video jockeys and podcasters out there. When you're interviewing bands and you go around and you ask people what your favorite venue, what your dream venue is, and they go around and ask people. But when you get to me and Melissa, it's always funny, because when we started, nobody would ever let us play anywhere. And they still won't. So when people pass them, I go, where's your... Do you dream of playing a Whiskey a Go-Go? Fucking a no-no. Because they don't pay no dodo. It's a pay-to-play venue. And I've never dreamed about playing a place where you drive across the country and people ain't going to pay you no bread for it.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
It sounds fucking awful. When people are like... can't you wait till you make it? Somebody said it the other day. I was in the comments with somebody, and they're like, "Oh man, maybe next year Rockville or some shit." No disrespect to any bands that play Rockville, or if you're a family member and you go out there and mow the lawn at Rockville, good for you. But I don't hope to play there. If they call me on the phone formally, you know what I mean, and we have a conversation like anything else, I would have to see if it was a good fit. Mm-hmm. That would be my realistic. If I was gonna play McDonald's, one time we played Walmart. Remember that? It was a great fit.
We did. Walmart.
But Walmart called us on the phone.
Like...
Formally.
Like corporate Walmart.
Yes.
In the parking lot.
We've played some shit.
That
We're a
was
weird band. So let me tell you something.
They used crates.
Yes, I'm gonna tell you, it was ingenious. It was ingenious. We're talking about too many things. I need a notepad. But this is ingenious, though.
Notepad over there.
Yes, but this is ingenious. Seriously. First thing is yes, we played Walmart, and the thing is when if you're in a band like Sepsiss, right, and all of heavy metal doesn't want you involved, none of hard rock wants you involved, all of a sudden when it makes that big space, other people go, well, fuck it, we'll get involved. When people make space in your life, when people walk out on you in your life, new people walk in.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that happens.
That's all that happens.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When there are weaknesses in your life and gaps, there's room for strength. It's just a matter of how you look at it. You know what I'm saying? So people are gonna come in and out of your life. You know, you're gonna find great jobs. Mm-hmm. You know, and they're gonna be great, and then they're gonna fit when they do. And when they don't, they actually don't. And there'll be pieces. There'll be room. There'll be space. There'll be headroom. And with that, if you have the right attitude, the right things will fit that space. But when you ask most people about what their favorite venue is or where they want to play, it's usually rooted back to the other bands and celebrities that they idolize.
Yep.
When it's just like the Danny Wimmer stuff or the Blue Ridge stuff. People love playing those big festivals because their idols and celebrities play there. Mm-hmm. It's not because somebody called them on the phone and it's a great fit for the band.
Makes sense.
So, Walmart called us to play because nobody else, we weren't playing with anybody else. So, they offered to have us come down and play. It was corporate, and it was for Chad, and the benefits were for a good cause. Yep. And we did get a little bit of pay out of it. Nice. But I mean, how much money are you making in independent rock and roll these days? If you're in independent rock and roll, to try to become part of a music industry, you're probably in the wrong business. If you're in the music industry and you're trying with the goal and hopes to become independent someday, you're in the wrong industry again. Right. So you know what I'm saying? If you're securing your record deal right now, and I'll tell you this because I've secured record deals before, and as soon as you secure a record deal and you tell your record label that you disagree with them, you will not be included in what the record deal has going on. You will not be included in what the record company is going on, because record companies have no business in independent thinkers.
Right.
No more than if I have a battle of the bands, I'm trying to recruit people that are competitive in nature. I need to recruit people that are gonna view competition as something that's beneficial to them. If you ask local bands together in a group, let's have a battle of the bands, they'll all say, "Oh, it's a terrible idea." But if you say, "Let's have a battle of the bands for celebrity," they start changing their mind. If you say, "Let's have a battle of the bands to go to the big rock fest," they'll fucking kill each other to get there.
Yep.
But if you say, "Let's have a battle of the bands to see who the best musician is,"
oh, we shouldn't do that.
Then you're cruel.
Right.
So, if you ask a lot of people, which favorite venues they want to play at, it's usually not the venue with the best sound system. It's just usually the venue or the place that they last remember their celebrity talking about. The last place their favorite heroes, the last place their favorite bands played at, or, legendary places like Rocco's. Lexi always wants to go to Rocco's because we never shut the fuck up about it.
It seems like a really cool place. So the more that they talk about and reminisce and have
You see?
this memory of this awesome venue, it just makes me want to go and see what they experience.
But when we play when bands from Texas come and play with us, or better yet, when we're playing shows in Midwest, people come up to us all the time when we're playing shows and they'll say, "Man, we wish you guys would move to Ohio." And I would say, "What the fuck would you want us to do that for?" And they say, "Because if you were here, the scene would be better." That's scary to me. When we've had guys come in, out of state, from as far as across the country, they'll come into New England, they'll say, and I'm proud of this a lot of the times, they'll say, "Man, I wish we had a scene like New England."
What?
And there's people in New England that heard what I just said, and they're like, "Nah, that's not accurate." The fuck it isn't. We are some of the most educated and spoiled musicians there is in the entire country, right here in New England.
Well, Berkeley's in Boston.
We are some of the most
Freaking awesome.
persnickety, spoiled, privileged, intellectual, intelligent, organized, little tidy musicians I've ever seen in my life are right here in New England. This is some of the most competitive and, be it have you, awesome, studious, postured musicians are from right here in the country. And we actually have one of the more unified and powerfully educated communities in terms of diversity, variety, our ability to have and encourage others around us to be supportive and different. And we're also not afraid to listen to other people's music. New England, we have ears.
Yep.
We're not cliquey. So, you know what I'm saying? In terms of accepting new forms of music coming in. When you listen to rock bands in New England, you might hear funk, you might hear jazz, you might hear rap, you might hear folk, you might hear big band, you might hear jazz influences, in a metal band. Some of the hip-hop influences out here, you'll hear rock, you'll hear country, you'll hear... And that's because, educationally speaking, we have a lot of diversity here. We're not afraid to talk about it. Let's talk about the other thing everybody I know didn't want to talk about it. But we have money here and garages and places to practice.
Yep.
That's what I meant. We have places where we can turn the music up and no one's going to call the fucking cops. So that's why we play the music a little bit better. We've had more time to practice.
Yep.
We got a little bit more money, a little bit more time on our hands. Gear's a little newer.
Less interference.
Yeah, we got nice cell phones here, and we can afford Wi-Fi. That's a big toolbox in for the modern day musician. We talked about that in the beginning of the cast, of how maybe a percentage of your success definably as a modern day musician is driving around and touring and being able to pass stuff out and kiss babies and hug fans and sign autographs. But now there's this whole other part of what it means to be a musician. And we used to call that DIY, but that's more so a common characteristic of even the biggest artists now. I mean, Geezer Butler does his own social media. For those of you who don't know who that is,
the bass player from...
We're talking basses here. Zach plays bass. So if y'all didn't know, Geezer Butler does his own, he does his own social media. And the list goes on as far as like people in rock and roll. But bands that we can tap right into right off the bat is probably every single female fronted band in our catalog. They all not only work as diligently as Melissa does, but they all have that characteristic of wearing many hats. They're streamers, they're models, they're doing voiceovers, they're doing raps, they're teaching,
all sorts of stuff.
But that is a modern day feature of what it takes to be somebody like Melissa or Zach or a Sepsiss or anybody that wants half a chance in creating conversation around their products and ideas and music. So yeah, Lex, openers. I don't know what the hell. I went past the entire beginning. That's because
I got a reminiscing of Rocco's.
That's what happens when we start talking about Rocco's.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Joe.
So for all you guys out there in New England that are looking to play Whiskey and No, you better get the gas so you can go.
Okay, you ready for openers?
Yeah.
We're gonna start with the funniest one. Well, I think it's funny.
Okay.
Johnny Christ of Avenged Sevenfold.
That's his name? I'd never known that.
Yeah. Johnny Christ of Avenged Sevenfold pissed in the face of Sinister Gates' dad.
Wait, go back over that again. Can you say that slower?
Johnny Christ of Avenged Sevenfold pissed or peed in the face of Sinister Gates' dad.
Okay, I feel like this is definitely like some fish hook clickbait shit. Like maybe he was a baby and he was changing his diaper and they were kids and they grew up and somehow I don't know. But this is what I'm gonna say. If you type that into AI, think of what would come back if you type that into Bard. This Johnny Christ peeing in people's faces and this whole bit. So give us the real scoop on this, because I'm sure there's something.
A lot can happen on a rock tour, and it isn't always pretty. Although a band is like a family, it's not always a great idea to mix your actual family with your bandmates. It's a lesson that Avenged Sevenfold Sinister Gates learned the hard way. As in the band were just starting to get mainstream buzz in 2005, the guitarist thought it would be a good idea to let his dad tag along for the leg of the Warped Tour. In an interview with Livewire, Gates spoke about something particularly gross that happened to his father when bassist Johnny Christ had a little too much to drink.
Oh boy. Oh man.
He goes, if we can fuck with somebody, it's Johnny, 'cause he's a garden gnome. Everybody thinks we treat Johnny so bad, and then, case in point, my dad came on the road with us for about a week. He's like, Johnny is my boy, I love this kid, he's so cool. Why are you such dicks to him? And then Johnny peed in his face, drunk, in the middle of the night.
That'll get you every time.
No good deed goes unpunished.
He woke up in the morning and his dad freshly showered. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning. We were on Warped Tour and he just had a big show that day in New York. And his dad's like, just go back to bed. You got a big day. I'll tell you about it later.
That was a great voice. That's how you imagined it?
Yeah.
He's a really nice guy.
So when we held it over Johnny's head, you fucked up big time. He's like, what? And then we told him the story. He blacked out drunk in the middle of the night and peed in his face.
That's why I don't drink. That's exactly why I don't drink. Because of that. You don't want to pee on somebody. And look at how long this. I'm sure I've peed on a handful of people in my time. It happens. I don't feel bad for them. Look at it this way. They're still a band, and even though have you heard any of the new music? It's Pissa.
You don't say.
Little New England humor.
I need a laughing thing.
Why don't you have
Do the
one?
cheer one.
Hurrah,
I
hurrah,
need a
hurrah.
bomb, a laugh, and like a shocked face would be awesome.
A shocked face.
What is that? Oh, like a
Yeah, that would
like
be
a gasp. Oh, you know we can make that. Like on it, we should do that ourselves. Like
Just make it.
we'll make that one.
That'd be dope.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
I need some of these. That would have been perfect. That would be great.
Right?
Well, you know we should do that with the head rush because we got the little wah on it.
That's right.
Wah, wah, wah.
Such a good investment.
I'm telling you.
It's a great
Yeah,
piece of
you guys can't
machinery.
see off camera, but we've got a whole shelf of head rush amplifiers behind it.
Yeah. I think we have their
Makes
entire
me
catalog
wonder how
now.
long it took Dad to wake up and realize what was going on. My mom's laughing.
Oh, do they think that that's
Einstein.
funny?
I was gonna say. Maybe.
Do they
Word
think?
by eek?
Yeah, you know you go eek.
You have an eek.
Yeah.
You go eek.
Oh, like when we pop balloons
Yeah.
and stuff?
Yeah.
That's the weirdest thing. You do
That's all you
that.
have to do is pop a balloon, I'll do it. You'll get it out of me.
That's weird.
Okay. Ready for the next opener?
Sure.
I'm probably gonna pronounce his name wrong.
It's even better if you do.
Al Jurgensen's.
Sure.
He has a strange career with selling diet soda with a penguin.
Sounds like my kind of guy.
Okay. You got Zach on diet soda.
Right? Diet soda and penguins? I'm in.
The career path of ministry has taken many twists
Oh,
and turns.
ministry.
Yeah.
Oh, so in my mind, I thought she was talking about like ministries, like a church.
Oh, yeah.
No. I'm talking about a band.
Oh, I feel so much better now. Okay, go ahead.
This is a band. So long before Al Jurgensen screamed for just one fix over an impenetrable wall of guitars and mechanicized percussion, the musician had a fairly lucrative career in synth pop. Ministry's album with Symphony is considered a stone cold classic among 80s culture connoisseurs. Littered with upbeats, hooks, and a fake British accent, it's not surprising that Jurgensen hates it. During this era, Ministry toured rigorously as an opening act for bands like Depeche Mode and Culture Club. According to Jurgensen, there wasn't much in the way of money to show for all the work he'd been doing. And Al tried his hand at jingling writing. Sorry. As full of piss and vinegar as ever, he talked about the experience in his biography, Ministry, the Last Gospels, according to Al Jurgensen. And before he picked up ministry. He was writing TV and radio jingles to help support drug habits, pay the rent, and all of that. He did a commercial for Shasta and some stuff for Huffy, and every time he left the studio, he wanted to not do it anymore, and put into perspective of what his dad has gone through with supporting the family and everything.
Whoa, this is a crazy story.
This is a crazy story. That's why I'm reading the whole thing like this.
What the fuck?
It's crazy. That's just what he was doing, and it was horrific, and it toughened him up. And if you cut him up right now and put me on a plate, I'd be some tough meat after he went through all of that.
Okay.
He couldn't eat it, and it would be toxic and all of that. There was no cannibalism with him. The deal with Huffy came to an end, and he gave him the song for a bike called The Panther. At the end of that cheesy tune, they wanted to purr loudly into the mic and say, "Fuck you, get someone else to purr, I quit." If you know anything about Alger Jensen, you know you should take his words with a grain of salt.
I feel like if you're willing to do hard drugs, you should be willing to purr.
Very true.
I'm just gonna. That's all
I was
I'm
gonna
gonna
say, yeah. Well, how come purring is where you draw the line?
Right. I was gonna say of all things, like
So
purring
that's
was like that.
basically what happened. He did a song with...
So what ended? Right. It's like, so what ended the contract with Huffy?
Okay.
They asked me to purr.
Stover, what's good?
It's the Stover load.
So...
I wonder if Mike Stover purrs.
He said, "Hey Lexi, props on tearing it up on stage recently."
Oh my
Lexi don't be
gosh.
purring.
Thank you.
I think people expected
Screaming.
Lexi to purr,
I
but she didn't.
Purr. I didn't purr. I screamed instead.
That was a roar.
Thank you. It was so much fun. I want to do it again. That's all I keep thinking about is screaming on stage. I think about it even more
should
so than
do
I
it
did
again.
before.
You should do it again, and then
Again.
again, and then
Keep
again.
doing it.
Right.
Yeah. It's really fun. I recommend. It's a really fun thing to do.
I know it's going to sound daddish. That's because I'm a dad. But this is the deal. Everyone's gonna tell you till you're blue in the face that everything that we do, and everything that humanity has going for it right now, must have something to do with money, monetization, whatever the fuck that means, being viral or getting attention. It seems like that's if you're the president, the fucking prime minister, if you're the prima donna, if you're the seriously, if you are primordial soup from the beginning to the end, it seems if you've metabolized in this moment in time that you are concerned not with the value of your quality in your time, but more so the metrics and the resources have prioritized everything. And that is fine for the majority of people. Mm-hmm. That is most people. I would say that is for the very even amount of people. So in the large group, this seems like everyone's doing it. So it seems mutual. And what is mutual? It's even. But what is the opposite of even?
Odd.
You see, in order to have even, you have to have
odd.
And therein lies that even, see, this is what even looks like. It's flat. But that is odd sticks out. So you have this flat and even plane. This flat, even plane. And it seems like that's what everyone's doing. Because it's mutual. It's even. You don't notice it. We seem to always notice what is odd. And in order to have what looks like as even, and what looks normal and flat is to create an inside group. But in order to have an inside group, you have to have
an outside.
So, when it comes to this band, when it comes to myself and Melissa and our music, we are uneven. We are odd. We are outside of that inside group. And to be odd means to take risks. It means to not be even. It's to not be mutual and do what everybody's doing. It's to not care so much about what everybody else is caring about. So when it appears that everybody's mutually caring about money and attention, that's what it appears to be mutually important to the majority. The majority is the flat line, the mutual, flat, and unnoticeable line. We all stop at red, we all go in green. And if we did anything else, it would be odd. We all have Spotify. Huh? You don't have Spotify? You don't like Metallica? You don't go to church on Sunday? Oh, that might be odd now.
Actually, if you go to church on Sunday, yeah, now you're.
That's what I'm saying. But therein lies a powerful point, is that some things that appear to be even and mutual change. So what appears to be normal, what appears to be even, what appears to be mutual, it appears like all musicians are making music for Spotify. That all musicians, it's only comfortable if we talk about making music, if we talk about it in terms of money. Musicians will tell you all the time. If you ask musicians why they make music, they'll tell you any reason but the reason why it's for. Because most musicians, at least most of them on social media, most of them want to get famous. Mm-hmm. They'll tell you that they're doing it for money. Because it's popular and it's mutual. Even though rock and roll artists don't make money off of music, they'll look you right in the eye and tell you the reason why they're doing it is to make money. When if you're in a rock and roll band like ours, you've put your money into it, for sure. Most musicians that I know at my level have put an awful lot of money into it. And they'll look at you right in the face and they'll tell you that they're in it for monetization, or they're in it for money. They're trying to reach a certain professional height where money's involved. And they've been doing it long enough. Well, they know that they haven't made any. And they're still willing to tell you. They look at everybody in the entire country and tell you that the reason why they're into music was someday that they hope to have a business, that they know that being in music is a business, and that they're here to make money. And in fact, that's how they will be authenticated when they do. And therein lies a big misunderstanding about success and failure in today's modern music. And as a modern musician, it's popular and understandable to look at a fellow modern musician and lie to him right to the face and tell him that you're in rock and roll for money when you know there's no fucking money in rock and roll. You're a damn liar. Most people make music and they're online doing it, especially on social media, and they're doing it for attention in hopes to become famous. A lot of people that make music won't admit that they want to be famous. And see, I don't have a problem with this. I don't have a problem with a musician wanting to be famous. I don't have a problem with musicians wanting to be rich. I don't have a problem with that either. Because we're taught that in this country as little babies and little boys and little girls. We're taught that being successful in America means being rich. And that's exactly why musicians lie about it when you ask them why they're making music.
Mm.
But in rock and roll, it's not popular to want to be successful.
No.
In independent, in amateur, in working bands, it's not popular to advertise yourself.
Well,
It's
no.
looked down upon.
Because then you're a sellout.
So if you would, so therein lies a paradox that we all know, big corporations like Spotify know that amateur musicians want to be famous.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they use famous celebrities as their biggest advertisers to independent music. They are the biggest carrot sticks that they wave. They're the biggest carrot sticks that they put in front of their faces to chase after. You know, you want to play Blue Ridge because there's these other bands there. They know that independent artists are so desperate to authenticate themselves that it's not money at all. Because the best targets are guys like me and you, really.
Mm-hmm.
Guys that have worked their whole lives, put all their money into it, will do anything for music, will dance for the rain, will dance for monetization, we'll do it for metal, we'll do it for rock and roll, we'll do it for the city, we'll do it for Chad, we'll do it for Walmart. Mm-hmm. And talent buyers, booking agents, greed, they can identify with passionate people like you, Zach. They can identify with passionate musicians at home. And that's why we make the perfect target. Independents make the perfect target for these big festivals, for these playlisters, for all these folks. So the key takeaway is, and the you know, the main point in me addressing this is that when you look at the construct and it looks like we're all mutually making music for the same thing, and you zoom out a little bit, there's a few of us that aren't. And there may be only one of us here talking about it today. There may be only one band. There may be only William talking about the abuse, talking about the exploitation, talking about pay to play. There may be only this one band that goes on every Wednesday and talk about it. But as long as someone's still talking about it, there's hope. Because therein lies the one that is odd. The world is not full of Slash, full of Wu-Tang Clan. The world is not filled full of JFKs and Martin Luther Kings and Gandhis, and the world is not filled with Eddie Van Halens. The world, those people are very odd.
Yeah.
Legion of Solace in the house.
Yo!
Shout out to the Legion. Tupac was odd.
Right.
You know, Rosa Parks was odd. Mm-hmm. These people, these people stuck out, and whether or not, you're a fan of those people or not, Tesla or Ma Bell or Benjamin Franklin, or these people were people that, although it seems normal to be a part of the construct and say we're all making music for money, because in America, if you make music for money, you're allowed to say that in order to keep playing music. If I say I'm making music in hopes to make money or to make a living, then people will give me a pass. But if I say that I make music because I love it, if I introduce myself by what I love to do and not what I do for employment, mm-hmm. then I'm a loser and I need to get a real job.
Well, the other end of that, too, is if you say, I make music because I love making music, when you want to make a living out of it, people are going to make you feel guilty for it.
Ooh.
They're going to say, well, why should I have to pay you? Don't you love doing this? Why do I have to pay you? You love doing it.
That is a good point.
So you're just greedy then.
That's like we follow, a majority of bands.
Yep.
We follow a majority of bands on Facebook, mm-hmm. but we don't follow them all, because there's a little bit of a criteria for that. So our big thing on the page is, sure, our page will follow your page, but there's got to be a little bit of work that you've done. Mm-hmm. So that, you know what I'm saying? So if you're a Page, you could be super talented and you have all the best motivation in the world, right? But maybe you just only been a band for 3 months, and and you got a small follower account or whatever, and people get all caught up in like the follower account or whatever. But it really has a lot more to do with like you being around for a while before we follow you. Because what we've noticed, once you're a band like ours, for 5 to 10 or 15 years, you wound up following so many pages or bands that have come and gone every 3 to 5 years. We got to go back in there. You know what I mean? Because our feed, because the feed will get fucked up. We just we start seeing stuff that doesn't exist anymore. So for maintenance purposes and for we don't always follow everybody. And let's face it, like you can't follow everybody. You can't spend your life doing that. But that's a good point. I just wanted to point out, it's not that Sepsiss or other bands like ours, it's not that we've abandoned our fiscal responsibilities. I think if I say to people, I like to do rain dances and I sing, and we have therapy and vibrational quality healing, that sounds great, in a Facebook post or in a blog. We're all making music to heal and to cure world hunger or something, and that's definitely part of our movement. And it's just like the supporting bands thing is a very authentic part of our movement. But when you say I support bands on Facebook, people translate that into we support bands 24 hours a day and we're supporting your band every second that you're looking for us to do that, and when you look for us to do that and we're busy doing something like that, we're not supportive anymore. So it's like we followed every band but yours. That's all.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's not, you're only looking through a small pipeline. So yes, the majority of bands will follow each other and unfollow each other and play that game. But we're not the majority. We're not mutually in some competitive social media art gallery with everybody. We don't look at it that way. There's no battle of the bands for us. We're not trying, and that's why we never fear competition, because we're not trying to make it to Blue Ridge. You know what I'm saying? That's not where we set the bar for us as musicians, and I think that is a massive misconception with us. We're not dancing for the rain, and we haven't neglected our fiscal responsibilities either. It's like wearing many hats and being able to take it serious and not sweating the small stuff at the same time, So, yeah, it appears that everybody in the world is on Spotify, and it appears that all musicians are making music for money. But no, I think a lot of musicians are in music to express themselves. And another greater handful are hoping to go viral. They're hoping to be famous. They're hoping to go, and it's not their fault. When people say they want to be rich, and they say they want to be famous, Zach, that's the construct.
Yeah.
That's the flat and mutual conversation. If I say to me, if me and Melissa are starting a band, and I say, hey, Melissa, why do you want to start the band? And she says, I want to do it because I want to dance for the rain and God, I might not join her band. That's the reality of modern music. If she says to me, you know what I mean, I'm looking to hit big metrics on Spotify, you know what I mean, and make some money, I'm supposed to respect that. That's supposed to be a good idea. But I think it's a combination of a lot of things, and putting your eggs in a bunch of different baskets. I think you need to make a little bit of money when you're an independent band, because you need to cover costs, and it's a lot of work traveling around. Gas is really expensive. And I also don't think that people realize that music as a whole is still a very high demand. If not, it's in a greater high demand now than it ever was. There's an all-out war over digital assets and how to get paid for it, who owns it. Moving forward, the music industry is changing. And we have to be ready as modern musicians to play music for many different reasons. Before in the 80s, you played music for the label. Mm-hmm. You know, and they set you up in a green room, and they were the middleman between you and your fans.
Yeah.
Whereas now, you know, social media or some of the other DSPs, Spotify's included, they create graphics and promotionals and images at the end of the year that showcase and show off your metrics, right?
Yep.
And what is that designed to do? That's designed to be a business card, to be an advertisement to all the other bands that are hoping to do the same thing.
On Spotify, too, they'll send you notifications. You're in the top 1% of this artist's listening pool. So,
yes.
You know.
Yep. And you know, we are still in a demographic, us folks that like to go to Guitar Center a couple times a year, where we come from that demographic, Melissa's included, where we still had concert posters on the wall.
Yep.
You guys remember that? I mean, now the walls are kind of bare or whatever. But, you know, we grew up looking up on the walls at these images. So when we think of rock and roll, we talked about Rockos earlier, when we think of the musical experience, it's like the people who talk about vinyl dying or cassettes. People that love cassettes aren't dead for those people. Nope. People who love black and white film. I remember when, you know, Dolby Digital came out, how they said that, you know, music was changed. Anything that wasn't Dolby Digital was finished, you know. You know, my grandmother watched a black and white TV, I think, until she died. She didn't swear by anything else. You know, people that love vinyl love vinyl.
Yep.
And Lexi, I'm here to tell you, I think the people that love seeing people, real human beings, scream into a microphone, I don't think that's going to change. I don't.
Awesome.
Where it happens, how it happens,
Might be a little bit different than what
Yeah.
we think, but
I think it'll be bound to make a, you know, it may not be as popular as it once was, but I feel like it's going to make its, you know, it's going to revive itself. Like in the, you know, in the 90s, all the 80s hair bands, they died out. But then, you know, you get, you know, the new wave, you know, the grunge era came in. But then after that, everyone's like, oh shit, remember when we used to listen to those old hair bands? And they pull out the records again, and suddenly, you know, they're back there making a comeback. And, you know, now
all of the most popular urban music that I hear, you know, on the popular playlists, it's all samples.
Yeah.
And it's all, I mean, it's TLC riffs and Aaliyah riffs, and it's all the stuff that we grew up with. Teddy Riley and I mean, stuff you thought that was half-massed at that time, you know?
Right.
Stuff that wasn't big hits. Now it's turning into big hits. Kind of makes you think, what are they going to do, like, years from now? It's like, you know, the Dido riff with Eminem. Think about how that was. Like, all of a sudden, like, 20 years from now, we hear the Blacklight riff on Nickelodeon.
right?
what?
But that's what's happening,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah,
That's what's happening.
it's crazy.
And, like, this, think about the stuff, like, you know what the stuff I'm listening, like, what are you listening to? What do you listen to right now, like, for real? What do you want to what do you want to hear?
See, lately I've been on like a pop rock kick. So there's this local Boston band called Honestly. I met the lead singer. He was moving into my old building as I was moving out, and I sold his buddy Ross my bass.
That's the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah. It's
What the
funny.
hell?
I lived in Nashville for almost a year, and I didn't meet all the cool Nashville people until I was moving out.
That's crazy.
Like, I met you guys in the process of moving. I lived right down the road. I used to live right down the road, and it wasn't until I was moving out that.
Yeah, but you know what's good?
bet
You
you
know what's
guys-
good about that, though, is that we still practice
Yeah.
and play a lot in the city, so that's
Right.
good. I gotta tell you guys this, because I'll forget all about it. I'm gonna read the next two because we haven't got to the main stage in so long. Because I can never be quiet on this program. We have so much to talk about. And when we add one...
We like to talk.
Well, this is a podcast. We're supposed to talk.
Yeah.
You know what the main problem is with a lot of podcasts? They have nothing to talk about. We can never shut the fuck up.
That's good, though. It's good to...
No, that just means, for all you out there wondering why the buttons and the audio is starting to get busy over there, it's because somebody knows that the show is closing to an end and they're trying to get their button pushing quota. So Meta's got a new Twitter alternative. Try to say that. If you're from New England, fucking Meta's got a Twitter. So as an alternative, Meta has got a Twitter. Gonna do something with her.
They got a titter?
They got a titter. So the thing is then Meta's new Twitter alternative app is gonna have its own icon as it moves closer to launch. This is what it looks like. I don't want to show everybody at home.
Who designed that?
It's offensive.
It looks like the orbiting. It looks like
an
our
anus.
orbit. It looks like our solar system's orbit in
So-
the
I
universe.
like it.
Huh?
I thought it was cool looking.
Millennial. The icon above, which I thought was less than attractive, it has a Twitter-esque color scheme and also maintains the Instagram gradient. So this is, now hear me out, basically what I'm talking about here is I'm talking about Meta, the Zuck. You know, I don't give a Zuck about none of this. Watch your sucking mouth. Listen. The next person to zuck with me. Huh? Huh? I ain't zucking around. That's right.
You just got knocked the zuck out.
The zuck out of here.
What the zuck?
All right. So he's probably going to press the button on us in a second. You know he's got the button in his pants.
Hi,
Yeah.
Dad.
That really brings up a whole different set of circumstances. All right, so this is a Facebook product, basically, is what I'm saying. But it's not Facebook, and it's not Instagram, and it's not fucking Twitter.
What is it?
It's the new one.
Wait, what?
It's
The
a
new
new
one?
It's a new thing. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Look at Melissa. Look at the killer, and oh boy, she's so happy. She can't wait to hear about this because as soon as we turn off this podcast, she's gonna go tear. Look, she's over there already, getting ready to kill this motherfucker. I didn't even want to show her this.
She's on it like a bomb.
Meta's been developing its Twitter alternative platform over the past few months, and amid its rising unrest amongst Twitter users that are sparked by what's his name changing features on the Twitter app, like the people who are really mad about the feed updates in Meta, as well as how Twitter has destroyed their relationship with celebrities with the blue check bullshit. We didn't buy ours. So when you know what I'm saying, you know the blue checks that you said.
Yeah, like the
So
verified.
okay, so if you have a personal account, if you have a personal regular account, you can
Yeah.
purchase them now.
Oh.
But you can't purchase them if you're a business.
Okay.
So it's a consumer product.
Yeah.
So because like I said before, these companies know that what people want to be is celebrities.
They want to be a
So
check mark.
they want right,
They want clout.
And now instead of earning it, you can just buy it.
but not everybody.
Well,
if you're a
just
band, you
personal.
can't. Right, if you're a band, you can't buy it.
Well, that's because social media is the market's answer to everyone who just wants to be a star. So the market created a way for them to say, here, everyone can be
Play
a star.
space.
Yeah.
Play space. So
Just-
the thing that's frustrating is because, like, if you're a real comedian or you're an actual band, it's hard for you to get one. If you're a band, you can't buy it.
No.
If you have a band page,
Yeah.
you can't buy it. You see what I'm saying? If you're and therein lies the problem. If you're Zach's Real LLC lemonade stand,
Yeah.
you should be able to have an authenticating feature
Right, like this
that
is
says
me.
this is where people really are fiscally responsible. We receive money in postage. We do our taxes. Whatever the case, we're following the guidelines.
We're a legit business.
Right. There should be some sort of, just like there is in real life. When you walk up to the corner store, there's an open sign, there's a closed sign, there's a lock on the door. It says Jeff's Diner. There's authenticators. There's business. There's the LLC on the door. There's a single dollar, the first dollar they ever made. There's all these visual confirmations. There's all these check boxes, checks. There are all these check marks that a person has to go through before they can say, yes, that's UPS. Otherwise, you're getting scammed. So if I say that I'm UPS and I make a Facebook account or something and I say I'm UPS and then I try to go and buy a badge to authenticate me, Meta's not going to give you one. Now, if you want to be Jeff Hingley from 22 St. Mauros Lane and you want to pay $12, you can have one.
Yeah.
For instance, we have a blue check on this on the page.
Yeah.
Okay? Like we do on Google or like Melissa does on her page. But we don't buy those.
No, you have
The
to
company calls us on the phone and tells us that we're eligible for them. You can't.
Yeah.
We don't take them down. We don't put them up. We didn't. There's nothing we can do. There's not a formal
Right.
thing that you couldn't. When we got them years ago, there was never an option to purchase something like that.
Yeah, because I thought like there had to be a certain requirement, like you had to have X amount of followers. And
That may or may not be. That is. That differs depend.
Yeah.
Like for instance, Spotify has blue badges, and they should, because the people that are on them and that have the badges on them, it signifies that they are indeed
the real deal.
the actual musicians. Now, if I go right now on Google, for instance, right, and I type in Google, all right, and I'm looking at this stuff. And I figure, what the hell? So if I go on to Google and I look at this stuff, you'll see that we have a blue check on Google.
Yeah.
All right? And the reason why that blue badge is there is not because we're famous. It's because we're real.
Right.
So some people will see the blue badge that we have on Facebook and they'll say, how do you guys have that? I can't get one of those as a person unless I bought it.
Right, I was gonna...
So I have a personal. I don't have a page. I have a personal Facebook account.
Yeah.
William Savant. Some people know me on there. I don't have any other. I don't have any music pages. I don't have anything like that. Just like Melissa has a personal account as well.
Yep.
Her personal account doesn't have a blue badge. Why would it? As the person, Melissa, that walks down the street,
Right.
shouldn't have one.
Right.
Now, the character that she is in the band has a blue badge. So, her personal page, she couldn't get one of those unless she paid for it. But her as a singer, she has one.
Yep.
Because it's authentic.
Right.
But her page can't purchase that.
Right. It has to be earned.
Correct. So it depends. So it makes sense for musicians to have an authenticator on a musician's site where people pretend to be musicians.
Yeah.
So even though you can buy a blue badge on Facebook, they won't allow you to buy a badge to say that you're a business. You can't have a band and buy a badge. No more than you can anywhere else on the internet. You can't, no more than you can go on Spotify and go, I'm a musician, let me buy a badge. No, you just have to, you'd be better off being a musician.
Right.
So the reason why Meta is going to give you one, or the reason why Twitter will give you one as a consumer, because you're giving them your identification to prove that you're authentic, not famous.
Right.
The badge isn't to be famous.
To be a real person.
It's to be real. So when you see us,
a real boy.
right? So if I go to, let me go to Melissa Wolf. So if I go to the Melissa Wolf page, for instance, now we all know the actual personal account of hers is actually hers. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you look here, this is a page. It's not a person.
Yep.
And the reason why is because Melissa herself doesn't need to represent this page. Mm-hmm. The page itself is represented by the authenticated admin to represent this person. I know that's tough, but if you see the badge on the Sepsiss page, it's because our business represents it, not me, William. It's not because we're famous. It's because it's real. Mm-hmm. So people go, you guys got the badge because you guys got thousands of followers. No. That's not why.
Yeah, but to prove that you're real.
Right. It's to differentiate. So
to prove that this is in fact
the right page. Right.
It's
UPS. It's really right. So what I'm saying is a lot of what they're claiming here is a lot of people are upset at Twitter and all of these other companies for allowing the breach of authentication. Mm-hmm. Hold on, I gotta find it again because I don't want to miss out on this one.
Yeah,
okay.
This one's dope.
Yeah, this is a real good one.
This is a juicy one.
Yeah, so Meta's been developing its Twitter alternative over the past few months and rising the unrest among Twitter users sparked by the changes on the Twitter app. Okay.
Yep.
Also, they have sensed an opportunity with the network's effects on Instagram on its side because it seems to it's looking to step on Twitter's turf in hopes of scooping up its potentially significant audience. This significant audience, of course, is celebrities and public figures. Public figures and celebrities are leaving the app because they want a place where they can be authenticated. Mm-hmm. And there isn't that same sort of authentication in terms of Instagram because Instagram is portfolio based and it's based on images, whereas Facebook is based largely on businesses and advertising. Okay, in brick and mortar storefronts. So where do public figures go to be authentic? Since then, they've had a few glimpses into the upcoming Instagram for your thoughts, including examples of how the new UI and users will interact with the separate app. This is a separate app. So this isn't Facebook, it isn't Instagram, it isn't Twitter. It is a product by Meta, Facebook, that is an alternative to the people that are leaving Twitter. And what that means is basically it will be a scrolling style app that is claiming to be less centralized.
Gotcha.
But isn't this what we've done before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Seems like it.
The separate app, still tentatively titled Barcelona. It will be featured as an offshoot of Instagram, with its users entering their Instagram credentials to log in. So here's how you're going to be a part of this app already. Is you're going to need your Instagram to log in to be a part of this app to begin with. Mm-hmm. So if you want to learn how you're going to be able to do it or what your username is going to be, apparently the only way to log into it's all connected. It will function as an offshoot of IG, and people will be able to post and text updates of up to 500 characters, add links, photos, and even videos up to 5 minutes length in stream. It will also, as noted, be decentralized, though it's not entirely clear what that means in the sense of Meta and their context as of yet, how it will align with decentralized social offerings, because they haven't in the past. And while Instagram has remained tight-lipped about the project, even good old Mark, jokingly, in recent discussion with Instagram chief Adam, the rumor mill suggests that it will be launched during the summer, though it could be sooner than that based on the examples that we've seen. The app now seemingly has a welcome screen, functioning UI, and it also has its own icon. It seems to be close to a fully functioning platform. Meta may still want to test it manually for a while and may even want to wait for it for the perfect time to launch. And Elon makes another significant change to Twitter or mistake. I want you guys to also point out to other apps that Meta has started up in the past that we were partners with, like Collab, and a whole bunch of other apps that when they came out originally, Sepsiss got partnerships for, and like we worked with them on a lot of those apps. I don't know if a lot of people know that.
Collab was so much fun.
It was a lot of fun, but nobody wanted to do it. But it was like
way better than Reels.
It was like TikTok and Reels, but just for musicians only.
It was beautiful. You could
only one problem: fans hated it. Fans hate music.
Right.
Fans don't give a fuck about C flat minor.
But it's such a beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Fans like to talk about music, but they don't. You know what I'm saying? If you know what I mean, people like talking about being smart with music. That's why we do the show, to actually encourage people to talk layer by layer past the
100%.
But like okay, for instance, I was playing there, like you could jump on, like Sepsiss members could just jump on and play with cellists.
No shit.
I'll show it to you after. Like we were doing, some of the stuff was great. Like it would just be like me like playing with like violinists. And like instead of it being like TikTok and doing like silly dances and like hokey pokey Macarena electric slide shit,
You make music.
You make fucking music.
No shit.
And
Off of their acapella.
Dude, and the people hated it. It was fucking, if you were a musician, it was like, it was crazy. Something like, so I would, and it's cool, like you create a riff, like a post, and you just like create a riff. And there's like a loop stretch.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Kind of like there is in a head rush. And you cut the loop stretch. And then, I think that was hard for people. Just that. You know?
Yeah.
Because let's face it, a lot of the music technology today is catered to consumers that can't make music yet. Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh, you can't sing? Auto-tune. Oh, you can't drum? Just like, whatever. Like,
right.
You can't mix? Fuck it.
Get triggers.
Right. Like, whatever it is, like, just pay for it, regardless, and you can do it.
Right.
Want to go to Blue Ridge? Pay for it. You want to use it? Pay for it. Just whatever it is.
Money,
please. You can be in KISS.
Just gotta pay for it.
You just gotta pay for it. You can't be in Sepsiss and you can't pay for it. You know what I'm saying? I'd love to be able to say that. So on the former, Meta's also reportedly offering early access to various celebrities, high-profile sports figures, public figures, actresses. So if you're not popular, you're not going to be on it yet. So all the most popular people in the world get to join these clubs before people do. So all the good usernames are gone, all the real estate, all the advertisement, all the places that you can get in and partner with these people are locked out before you get in there. You can't even run an ad in this motherfucker. If it can get enough of them on board, it'll be worth noting, too, that many high-profile Twitter users are still upset for having their blue badge removed. If Instagram wins over that crew, it'll get them sharing regular updates on this new app instead. So look out for this new app, and hopefully,
This app sounds like so much fun.
Yeah, all these bands are. This is the year of the band breakup. I told everybody in the beginning of the year that this was the big year that tons of bands were gonna break up. And I'm saying, boom, 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 one after another. It's like sequential. Like so many bands broke up, and
It's crazy. It's really crazy. It really is.
It is. Sometimes, like I said though, sometimes things got to move around to move forward, to do.
That's true. That's true.
You got to make room in the garden for the flowers to grow.
Gotta pick the weeds out.
Melissa, you got anything interesting to add? We're gonna go.
No, we don't.
Zach, what did you think about the Honeycomb Hideout?
Did you have fun?
This was fun. Yes.
Woo! Would you like to come back?
Absolutely.
He wants to come back.
So It's good that he wants to come back because we didn't do what we're supposed to do.
We never do what we're supposed to do. That's the beauty of the Honeycomb Hideout.
Right. So next week, that seems to be the biggest tradition is
it's like our motto.
we write down like an hour's worth of stuff to talk about, and then we talk about Rocco's. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Every hump day.
Wednesday, let me.